I asked the Lord this morning for some keys for what was on his heart for tonight, and I heard instantly in my head, not audibly, but it was there, finish well. And this seems to be a definite end to something, but more came during the day. This is Transformation Sheffield from Sheffield in the UK, and it's the 27th of July 2026. You're very welcome, whether you're here or online. I suspect that if we think about it, and we may not, we'd all like to finish our lives well at the very end. The late Stephen Covey, that some people may have come across, who wrote the book, The 7 Habits of Effective Leaders. He's a Christian, but he also writes some exceptionally good business books. He writes, start with the end in mind. And you can see the logic straight away that if you're doing something, where do you want to get to? What do you want to achieve? How will you know you've got to the end? What will it look like? But he goes on to say, why don't you write your own epitaph? And if it's about personal development, because and I've done this some years ago, if you write your epitaph down of what you'd like people to say at your own funeral, sounds a bit morbid, I know, but it's not. It's actually quite sobering, because you think, actually, I'd like to say this, but I'm not really like that. But any plan, the scheme, and activity is usually better with a picture of the end of it. But I got a growing sense during the day from Holy Spirit that this wasn't about the end of life, or it wasn't about the end of a ministry, but he was showing me that there was this for today, that the church needs to be ending some stuff. Individuals, church with a small c, that is, of course, because something is coming that needs our full attention, but we won't get to see what it looks like until it happens, because God knows what the end in mind looks like. But 2, this finishing well is about finishing a chapter of a book, or finishing a book, or an episode, or a TV series, or something you were writing. That there's a point where there's these sections of our lives that he's saying, I want you to finish that off now properly before I take you to the next stage. Now, this might be, I'm sensing something so dramatic that the world can't deny it, but it may also be as simple as things that saying, right, I want you to finish that off, I want you to finish that well, because I need you to move on to something else. And it made me think of the story of the parable of the talents. It was the Gateway Bible website calls it the parable of the bags of gold, which is not my emphasis. It says this, Jesus was saying, again, it would be like the man going on a journey who calls his servants and entrusted his wealth to them. To one he gave 5 bags of gold, to another 2 bags, and to another 1, each according to his ability. That itself's interesting. Then he went on his journey. The man who received 5 bags of gold went at once and put his money to work and gained 5 more bags. So also the one with 2 bags, he gained 2 more. But the man who received 1 bag went off, dug a hole in the ground, and hid his master's money. After a long time, the master of those servants returned and settled accounts with them. The man who received 5 bags of gold bought the other 5. The master said, you entrusted me with 5 bags of gold, and see, I have gained 5 more. His master replied, well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful with a few things. I will put you in charge of many things. Come and share your master's happiness. The man with 2 bags of gold also came. Master, he said, you entrusted me with 2 bags of gold. See, I have gained 2 more. His master replied, well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful in a few things. I will put you in charge of many things. Come and share your master's happiness. Then you know what's coming next. Then the man who received 1 bag of gold came and said, Master, I knew that you were a hard man, harvesting where you had not sown and gathering where you have not scattered. So I was afraid and went out and hid your gold in the ground. See, here is what belongs to you. And he goes on. You'll know the rest of it. Although in this parable we don't know the time scale, but it looks as though the servants knew there was an end point. They might not have known when it was, but he wanted them to finish it well. And all three servants, it seems to be part of their job to make sure they were working on a pattern of things. Whether the master went off traveling regularly, we don't know, but two of them knew that actually they had to finish the role well for a certain time, even if they didn't know when it was. In most of the passages, when you look up finishing well in the Bible, they are all about the end of, very much the end of something, particularly about people's lives and having run the right race and so on, and that's all very good. But I don't think that's what God was trying to say today. Our lives are a continuum, and we have these little chapters or books in them that we move on from. Or we should do. Sportsmen and athletes understand this. If you take the World Cup or the Commonwealth Games at the moment, there are heats, and you have to get through the heat to get to the final. But you can't get to the final until you've completed the heat, and you've got to finish it properly to get to the next level. 1 Corinthians 9:24 to 27 says this on the matter of running. Do you not know that in a race all runners run, but only one gets the prize? Run in such a way that you get the prize. Everyone who competes in the games goes into strict training. They do not get the crown that will not last, but we do it to get a crown that will last forever. Therefore, I do not run like someone running aimlessly. I do not fight like a boxer beating the air. No, I will strike a blow to my body and make it a slave, so that after I have preached to others, I myself will not be disqualified from the prize. And I use that as an example of the discipline of finishing something off, training for it, and paying attention to things. So I asked and pondered, why are we now told to finish the chapter, the book, the series, or whatever it is at the moment? First thing that came to mind was there's a new chapter coming, a new book, a new series. Secondly, it's right to complete things because they're done with, because that leads to the third thing, is that actually sometimes if we're not careful, we can end up moving on to something new, but at the same time still hankering back or thinking, oh, did I finish that off properly, or should I go back and do that, or actually thinking aloud now, which I think is worse, is celebrating how brilliant that was and keep going back and looking over it and sort of marveling at it. It's done. It's time to move on. Knowing what's next in God's sense is very difficult, and regularly we've prayed here and people have tried to ask, I need direction, I need to know where I'm in, and God will us in a place where we see we're in a new time. But what I do think God is saying is we need to be a people who are ready, who are alert, and increasingly to be like the men of Issachar, having seeing and hearing and reading between the lines spiritually, understanding the times. 1 Chronicles 2:32, which describes the tribe of Issachar, when David's calling the tribes to come and battle with him, it just says, from Issachar, men who understand the times and knew what Israel should do, 200 chiefs with all their relatives under their command. Now the interesting part is, when you read the rest of that section, is all the other tribes send a lot of people in their thousands. Judah sent 6,800, Simeon sent 7,100, Manasseh sent 18,000, and Zebulun sent 50,000. All soldiers, but not the tribe of Issachar. They're not. It doesn't say that they sent warriors. They sent people who understood what was going on. Can we interpret that as a sort of a remnant, an understanding remnant? So I just say, Rise up, Issachar, a remnant for today. I just want to finish with this prayer. Lord, we ask for your Issachar generation to take their place today, and that you lead us to finish the chapters, the books, the episodes, our travels, our journeys, and the times that you've had us in anticipation of new times that you are preparing. And that we would be a people, and you would call out this remnant to understand, to be able to share and instruct and lead, or at least influence those who have authority, bigger authority than ours, to change the times that we're in. I pray these things in your name, Jesus. So next week on the screen, here we go, you're back. Darren Farmer with us, originally from Birmingham, if you've seen him before, now ministering for many years in America, but spends a lot of time in the UK. Delighted that he's coming back, and he's going to share what's on his heart for the moment. If you want to share the event, it's on Facebook on a page called Transformation Sheffield News, which is a place you can share it from. So if you want to share it from there, if you're on Facebook, you can do that. And then that'll be our last night for the summer, and then we'll return on the 7th of September. It's interesting, isn't it? Last week's topic, 2 weeks ago's topic was trophies, and this God seems to be on this theme of finishing, doing it properly, getting the trophies, seeing how things work, not for ourselves, but to finish well. And a sense that we're in a phase, perhaps as church in general, church across the nation, that as we come to the end of this period and September starts, September is a new time. And I pray and declare that God will use us in a new time. So thanks for being there. Thanks for listening. Feel free to share this with anybody you want. It's on YouTube. And look forward to seeing you next week. We'll be streaming from 7:30. See you then.